Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today was my second full day. Training, doing EiCRs, which basically means electrical installation conditioning reports. And in short, it's essentially where you go to the consumer unit and all the different RCBOs, which are the breakers, that isolate individual parts of the house. You have to just test sockets in these specific rooms in groups, and you have to run like continuity tests and find the Z values and do live tests and dead tests and calculate the R1 and R2 value. I wish I could explain that a bit more, but that is my current understanding on day 2. But yeah. And then you need to basically check for cracked sockets, anything unsafe, and you also need to check for like little niche things such as, the light in the bathroom, for example. Is it fully sealed? So like there's not a chance that water can from the shower head can just go over the, what's it called? Protective layer and get the light and fucking arc electric and kill you in the shower. Yeah, it's been really good though. Yesterday was free pickings. We were done in 4.5 hours, but we did only have 2 properties. The rest of the week we've got 3, so we had 3 today, and they're all in Hull. Most of them are in Hull, and there was this guy, this do-it-yourself dad. He was a really nice guy. A bit too nice, if you ask me, though. Almost as if he was overcompensating for something. Anyway, though, what this guy did, he didn't tell us straight away, but he had 12 years ago, he said his mate, it could have just been him, but him and his mate changed all the, a lot of the plug sockets in the house to, from the dull white ones, the regular white ones, to the shiny ones. Some of you might know what I mean, just to look a bit fancier. Anyway, to be fair to them, the technique was correct. There's certain ports for the lives, neutrals, and the earths, and they hadn't fucked that up. But obviously, the extraneous metal part, so the copper wire, which obviously conducts electricity and carries electricity, the way that actually powers the plug socket is these little ports. Once the this is going to look really sus, but once the 2 wires are in there, you basically tighten a screw, this metal screw, and this metal screw comes down and makes contact with this copper wire, or these copper wires in there. And yeah, basically, I kid you not, in every single one, and there was about 15 or 16 of these bastard plug sockets that we had to unscrew, or rather, that Tom had to unscrew. And I just sat with the torch trying to assist, but yeah, in almost every single one, as soon as you unscrewed the plug socket, you take it out, bang, the 2 neutrals weren't tight enough and they'd just fallen out, and that is fucking very dangerous, because You know, if that had fallen out when the sockets weren't dead, bad news. That I don't know exactly what would happen, if it would just go boom, or if it's just like very unsafe, but you should try to avoid that. Anyway, he admitted to us that, you know, because basically the ring circuit, so you want a loop from the wiring of your house. You want a loop round. The circuit was broken, like this ring circuit. There was a part broken, and we had to unscrew every single one and check. And it's a good thing we did, because every single socket was unsafe in that house. But it was a learning experience, and I learned a lot that day. I felt bad for Tom though, because he had to do all 15, and when electricians do it, it looks really fast. But I've been trying to do it, and I've still yet to solo one. It's not difficult to understand. It's just very finicky, and you underestimate the tenacity of the wires and the cables. Like, they're quite hard to bend. They're not, you do need some strength to bend them. Anyway, Tom was kind enough to give me some practice tools, which I'm going to have a little practice with now before bed. Yeah, gave me a socket outlet. You shouldn't use your teeth, but I do. Anyway, so let me explain. So, yeah, the back of it, you've got this. Now, let me have a look. I don't know if it's going to focus. I don't know if I need the light over here, but is that going to focus? There we go. Ish. It's not great focus, but hopefully just there you can see an E. There you can see N, and there you can see L. You can see the hole next to it, right? 1, 2, 3. Anyway, so you put both earths into E, both N's, both neutrals into N, and both lives into L. Self-explanatory, right? So I managed to almost do it, but I mean, it's not on the first day. I fucked it up. There's kind of like old-fashioned color coding. So like the wires used to be, which way around was it? I think the wires used to be red and black and green, I think. So yeah, live was red and neutral was black and green was earth, but they changed it for some reason. So now that earth is still green and yellow, but neutral is now blue instead of black, and live is brown instead of red. But at the beginning, I thought that black was live and it was neutral, so I almost fucking hooked them up wrong. Obviously, Tom checked them, but Tom told me a funny story that when he first started, he put all 6 wires into the same hole, and someone turned the power on from the consumer unit, and it just went, just exploded. And today, to be fair, I'm not sure why it did it, but it's an RCD test. Yeah, we were testing the RCD, which is basically it's basically like a safety net. So if there's a power surge because of like some like metallic contact, you know, if you're like in a live part with the fucking metal screwdriver, instead of you getting a massive shock, it will trip in like 0.3 seconds. I think it's allowed to be 0.3 seconds. But I was stood right next to him with the torch, and there was like fucking sparks that flew up. That scared the shit out of me. It really made me jump. But yeah. Did we have any? Tom gave me this big fucking drum. And one of the skills. Well, basically, one of the skills is to. Let me just put this back in. Obviously, you got a wire. Let's just pretend this hasn't lost half of its body. Let me try to put them back in. I can't. Anyway, you've got a grey wire with the live, brown, neutral, and where's the earth at? Maybe. Oh yeah, okay. So the earth is separate, apparently, for this one. No, it can't be separate. Maybe that's the earth. This must be the earth, it just doesn't have any sheathing on. But you're supposed to just be able to separate this wire, but it's really finicky because you end up like too much pressure, you end up fucking cutting the rest of the wires inside, but too little pressure, you don't actually penetrate through. Then you've got these, which are like fragile, and you need to like sometimes take the sheathing down to expose the extraneous conductive part. But obviously too much pressure, you just cut the whole thing off, and trust me, it's really finicky. Tom says it'll probably take me about a month to be able to like take down and reinstall a plug socket without his supervision, but I'm obviously going to accelerate that by practicing at home. But it's really interesting on the whole. This has been a very long video. I feel like this has been my first proper video in ages. But it's very interesting, and honestly, I'm fucking loving it. Like, I'm able to get up early, have a routine. It's not destructive. I don't wake up at 2 p.m. I've got the evening, and it doesn't feel like work. And I'm getting paid while I learn, a very fair rate, and I couldn't be more thankful, and this is definitely what I want to do with my future. Cheers.